The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar. Today's webinar title is Upgrade Your Well Design and Engineering Software Without Having to Replace it. So my name is Kenza Lalu. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for EMEA. I'm here today with the COO of eDrilling, Sven Inga Ødegaard. In this webinar, we will start by explaining the current challenges most of our customers have been having when it comes to the use of their legacy well construction and engineering software. We will then explain the possible solutions we offer to overcome those challenges by also giving an example on what we have developed and implemented for one of our customers. Following this, we will talk about the benefits of our technology and how it can also bring value throughout the entire well construction process. We will then end this webinar with the Q&A session. So please remember to write your questions on the question tab you will find on the GoToWebinar application. So why do you need to upgrade your current well construction software? There are today several challenges when it comes to well planning and engineering. To list some of them, and I'm sure many of you will agree with this, one is the long planning time required to plan a well. It often takes several months to plan a well when you can use this time to focus on a safe operation and deliver efficiency. The software you are using is maybe old or outdated, which means it can be slow, complex, not user-friendly, but also perhaps not giving the outputs you're looking for, especially if you're working on unconventional wells. Another important issue you are possibly facing is that the model used in the software you have is based on steady-state simulations, which means it's not giving you an accurate modeling, and therefore the risks and operational errors are increased when drilling with tight margins. Lack of data management is also another challenge. If you are an operator working with a big service provider, even if you own the data, it is often complex to get access to it. And when you need support, it might take some time to get your request answered. So these are just examples of what you are possibly currently facing with the system you're using. So why not change it? Now, to answer this question, it is of course understandable that it's not easy to replace a system that your company had a big investment on. Changing means also additional costs with the extra training, the cost of the new system, and so on. In addition to that, there is also a need for continuity and savings, especially in today's market. However, at the same time, there is a need for implementing a more advanced solution to enhance drilling efficiency, increase performance, and maximize the results. So how to solve this? Well, the good news is that we do have a solution to these challenges. First of all, one important thing is to have a good software which can do dynamic well planning. And here you can see why. When you have a dynamic simulation, there is a continuous modeling based on current operational parameters and the previous calculation set. The pressures are with correct lift, fluid, cutting, and temperature distribution. Transitions are also included when operational parameters are changing. The safety margins and the risks when drilling wells with tight margins are also reduced, and therefore it gives you accurate modeling and accurate well planning. So what happens when you have a model with steady-state simulations? In this case, the parameters used in the ECD calculation are unchanged, and also transitions are not taken into account when you have operational parameter changes. So the safety margins are wide, the risk for drilling wells with tight margins is increased, and therefore the model is not accurate. Now, by offering our technologies as microservices, you have a complete solution. eDrilling's Well Planner offer instant modernization of your legacy well planning and well-designed systems, while at the same time extending the value of your existing investments.
Well, so we're going to show some different scenarios on how to do this. Some of our customers prefer to add a business logic layer on top of their existing application and databases. This gives them greater flexibility. It is easier to maintain, as well as making the systems more scalable. At customers with this infrastructure, eDrilling then reads and writes from this layer rather than directly to the database and or to the client. Other customers have invested in so-called planning suite. This could be drill plan or say EDT. Others again choose to keep or buy the best of breed of solutions. A benefit of this is of course that you do not bind yourself to one supplier of well design and engineering software. Finally, some customers decide to design their own application for the well planning workflow, either writing the solution from scratch as a web app or simply using some of the functionality out of the box in their existing CRM and ERP solutions. The reasons we are showing a number of different scenarios here today is because there are probably as many scenarios as there are E&P companies around. And then some, as there are many E&P companies that has a variety of legacy solutions across their subsidiaries. And the fact that you can utilize eDrilling software either as a microservice or as a standalone application, no matter which setup you are in. In addition to creating an optimized drilling plan, you get the following benefits. You get increased flexibility during planning and operation. You have scenario planning also in real time. You get an accurate and easy accessible data for future well planning, and the well planning time can be significantly reduced. This is an example from a customer designing his own workflow by using legacy software for concept selection and dynamic software or a digital twin from us to optimize the plan. The goal is to reduce the planning time and get the optimal plan with the possibility to replan quickly depending on the operation. In this case, we are working closely with the E&P company and the software arm of the service company to achieve these goals. Optimization of the plan is done by running multiple what-if with different flows, running speed, etc., depending on the operation to optimize. All common operations like drilling, tripping, liner, screen running, cementing, and other displacement operations can be simulated and optimized. In general, the fastest scenario with no warnings will be the suggested from the optimization. The simulation software is available as a microservice hosted in a public cloud, in this case Azure. A 3D front-end application is also available from the cloud to view and replay the different simulations and results.
Okay, so thank you, Sven Inga, for these scenarios and example. As you can see, there are many possibilities on how you could integrate new technologies as microservices into your existing system and therefore upgrade it to a more advanced one to optimize your drilling plans. I would like to highlight additional benefits from using our technology. We see from our customers best practices that an even better result is when you take the drilling plan and involve the entire crew in drilling the well in simulator, basically replacing the old drill well on paper exercise. Practice on the risk sections on the well and get buy-in and understanding from all involved parties. And for optimal well construction process, take the same well, the digital twin of your well, and use it in real-time optimization and automated monitoring of the actual operation. In real-time operation, it enables you to do forward simulation and what-if simulations to detect mismatch and give input to change drilling plan, for example, to avoid problems or to change parameters for optimal drilling, or in other words, drill the perfect well. So this treats the well life cycle as one continuous process. The model of the well from planning software seamlessly transfers between solutions from planning and design, training, real-time operation, and also after operation for post-analysis and experience transfer, using the same model throughout the well life cycle. eDrilling provides these technologies as standalone products and services, and by exposing data and capabilities through a consumable service or an API to other members of the drilling ecosystem. So to conclude and to summarize, we talked about the challenges using the legacy softwares for well design and engineering, such as the long planning time and or the increased risk for of operational errors, and also the challenges of replacing it as it's in an additional cost and requires additional resources. This can be overcome by using eDrilling technologies as microservices, so you can have an optimized well plan that can be used throughout the well construction cycle. So this ends our presentation. Thank you all for listening. We can now open the floor to the question session. I would like to remind you that you can write your questions in the question tab you will find on the GoToWebinar application. Okay, so I see a first question here. What model is used in your product? Well, the product we have been talking about in this webinar for well planning and well engineering is our well planner. And the model used is torque and drag and hydraulic simulations, including flow, pressure, fluids, and cuttings with temperature effects.
Yeah, we have another question here. You have talked about an accurate modeling with dynamic simulation. How have you verified the accuracy of the models you are using? Our focus for the years is to verify the model against real-time readings. We have also had a number of real-time application using the software. And we have documented that for a sample of 100 wells that we have used for this, we have no operational kind of stuck incidents in those. So it's very well documented by customers and also in reports if you like to have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, we have some more questions here. How does your software help to expedite well planning time? It is helping in order that it will then be an automated process when you use microservices. You can call our software whenever you like, and then you get a full simulation of the well instead of sending it back and forward as you do today.
That's a very good question. The next question is how accurate the modeling of cutting generation, transport, and setting?
Yeah, we have an embedded solution for this in our model, where we model all the different phases in the fluid and also the cuttings, including the slip velocity of the fluid, so that we have a cuttings concentration in the well.
Another good question, is there a guideline to define how old the software needs to be to decide to be upgraded?
No,
there's
I
no
don't,
guideline, yeah.
no.
So it's up to the customer to decide when the upgrade is needed or not. How long does it take to implement such a solution from first meeting with client to sending your plan to rig?
That will of course depend on the process you have, on the different scenarios that we talked about. But everybody today is working towards a plan a well in a day, and there's no reason why we shouldn't accomplish that.
Correct. The next question, have you run this setup using real-time data from wired path, for example, high resolution data and distributed measurements?
No, but that will only benefit us, because then the model can be even more calibrated with the operations, and then the benefits from our modeling in real time related to forward-looking and what-if scenarios would be even better. So this complies very well with what we do.
Mm-hmm. Is the software cloud-based? Can you also produce all the programs, reports, and end of well reports from it?
The software is cloud-based. We can have it on in Azure, or we're doing Amazon Web Service or whatever. It's not automatically generating your reports. It's a simulation system that simulates the well in real time applications. But in planning, you simulate on beforehand, and of course you can create a report related to the simulation that you have done. So question here, can the system output surface set point in real time to choke control systems? Yes, then we are in our real-time solutions, where we can have an automatic set point generation for the choke, depending on the pressure set point downhole. So then the models are used in closed loop control.
Yeah. Your solution is mainly providing predictive analytics during the execution phase. So no, we actually do it in the planning phase, but I guess in terms of predictive analytics, that's in the execution phase.
Yeah, you can say that, but it will also be in planning, because you can have multiple kind of what-ifs, and you use diagnostic modules on top of this in order to detect if you are within the boundaries and so on. And it's depending how you define predictive analytics.
Another question, I can understand the dynamic simulation can optimize the drilling program, but can you please explain how it reduces the well plan and well design phase?
It reduced the phase by that you when you have this as a microservice and can access it from other applications, it will reduce the time that you today use on emails back and forward, and when you and all the errors related to configuration data that you send on this email, if these are at the correct date or at the correct format and so on. So what you do here is that you take the data directly from the source that you have, and you send it to a microservice and get the feedback back immediately. So that will reduce the planning time quite a lot.
I think we haven't answered the question before. How about cutting generation? Is it based on ROP, formation strength, etc.?
Yes, it is based on the ROP, the formation you're drilling in, of course, and also yeah, it does, and the cuttings concentration as moving upwards, depending, of course, on the mud and the rheology you have, and the cutting slip velocity related to the flow that you have.
Okay. Another question is, what data do you require to configure your system when it's used as a microservice? So for this one, drilling plan, we need a drilling plan with the suggested flow rates, the movements, and so on, and also all the well configuration like the DHA, the trajectory, the geometry, etc.
Another question here. Are you able to provide a microservice solution for real-time engineering? Yes, that's possible. Our customers today usually use our real-time software from our cloud solution, often Amazon Web Service. And this is why it's easy to integrate with other systems, because it's cloud-based and you can interface it directly.
Okay, the next question we see, how long does it take to have your product for well planning integrated in scenario A? Well, in scenario A, that's where you integrate towards a business logic layer. And this is actually very close to the example we showed. So it is available on as an off-the-shelf product.
Another one, is the model limited to single-phase modeling, or do you handle multi-phase scenarios as well? Sure, we do handle multi-phase scenarios. You can have fluids, cuttings, and also you can also have a well control inside the model, in the same model. You don't have to have one model for hydraulics, one model for temperature simulation, and one model for well control simulation. All is embedded in one model. And another question here. I see you mentioned DSIS, BIS logic layer. Have you run any jobs with that setup? We are doing that with a customer now, and it is in the testing phase, and it seems to work quite. It seems to work good, not quite good. Good. Another one, is it possible to set up the system without using a cloud service, a physical service on company's cloud? Sure, you can have this on physical service or virtual service or in Amazon or Google or Microsoft or wherever you like to have it.
All right, so that comes to the end of our webinar. Thank you all for joining and all the good questions. I will be posting the slides. You can find them on the handout material on the GoToWebinar. And you can also contact me at any time if you have any further questions. My contact you can see on the slide is kl@edrilling.no. So thanks again, and I wish you a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You can just leave it on file where you were. And webinar.
Did you?
I think great.